For the first time in her life, she raised her voice at her mother. Mommy, can't you see how you look? You look old and you can't even dress well. Wear something nice. Look at your slippers, so old, so embarrassing. I'm sure you even told the people that showed you my room that you are my mother. Ego was so hurt to be angry. Ogechukwu, I look like this because I spent every single penny I have ever worked for in my life to give you a comfortable life. Now you stand here and tell me that Ego, embarrasses you. Somewhere in the heart of Lagos, where the streets pulsed with life and the air buzzed with the sound of impatient horns and hurried footsteps, lived a woman named Ego. Life had never been kind to her, but she had long learned that kindness was not something the world owed anyone. Years ago, tragedy had knocked on her door, shattering the fragile peace she had built with her husband, Ifenna. Ifenna had been a truck driver, hardworking, honest, and devoted to his family. But fate was cruel. One rainy evening on a highway slick with water, his truck skidded out of control, and just like that, Ifenna was gone. Ego had screamed that night, a sound so raw it seemed to claw at the very walls of their tiny apartment. But little Ogechukwu, only 5 at that time, had been too young to understand the finality of death. She had tugged at her mother's wrapper, asking, "When is Daddy coming home?" Ego had no choice but to wipe her tears and force a smile. "Soon, my love, soon," she whispered. But soon never came. Ifenna had left behind more than memories. He had left behind responsibilities, bills, rent, an unfinished dream of a better life. And most importantly, he had left behind their daughter. Ogechi was the only part of him that remained, and Ego clung to that with all the strength she had left. She worked as a primary school teacher, earning a little salary so meager it barely covered their food, let alone school fees, rent, and the countless other needs that life demanded. Lagos was expensive. It had been easier when Ogechi was younger, when nursery school did not cost so much and her needs were simple. But as the years passed, the child grew, and so did their struggles. Determined to give their daughter the best education she could afford, because that was the life Ifenna had wanted for their daughter, Ego did everything possible to make ends meet. She added extra lessons to her already strenuous job, tutoring children after school for a few extra naira. She barely slept, she barely ate, but she pushed through the exhaustion. She had no other choice. At night, when the city quieted and Ogechi lay curled beside her, sleeping soundly, Ego would stare at the ceiling. She was so tired, but she would not give up. She had vowed that her daughter would never feel the void of her father's absence, that she would never lack, no matter how much it took from her. And so she kept pushing, because love, real love, the kind that endured loss and hardship, was not about what was easy, it was about sacrifice. Years passed, and Ogechi entered secondary school. With each milestone her daughter reached, Ego felt both pride and dread. Pride because Ogechi was growing into a fine young girl, bright, intelligent, well behaved, and full of promise. Dread because secondary school was an entire new battle, one that required even more sacrifices, more strength, and more determination. There was tuition to pay, books to buy, uniforms, and countless fees that never seemed to end. And yet, Ego had no one to turn to. Ifena's family had long abandoned her. Their sympathy vanished soon after the funeral, as if their obligation had died with him. Her own family, they were struggling too, barely keeping their own heads above water. But Ego had long accepted her reality. She had never been one to wait for a savior. No. And so she fought like never before. Her salary was laughable. It was barely enough to keep them afloat, let alone cover the mounting costs of Ogechi's education. So Ego did what she had to do. She took on every menial job she could find. She cleaned houses for people, scrubbing floors until her knees ached. She washed their clothes, her hands raw from constant soaking. She fetched water for those too wealthy or too lazy to do it themselves. She weeded gardens, tended to compounds, carried loads heavier than her small frame should have endured. And she never once let Ogechi lift a finger. "My dear Ogechiku," she would say whenever her daughter begged to help, "I am doing all this so that you will not have to suffer. All I want is for you to focus on your studies. You have a bright future, my dear, and become successful. Then you can help me wipe away my sweat and ease my aching bones." "But mother, you work so hard. What if you break down? Let me help, even if just a little," Ogechi pleaded, her voice heavy with concern. But Ego would only smile, though her body ached more than words could ever express. "I cannot break down, Ogechi. I am a strong woman. I will work as much as my strength can carry, and you will study twice as hard." And so Ego continued. She worked tirelessly to the point where the lines of hardship etched themselves into her face, making her look far older than her years. There was no money for luxury, not even for fine clothes, not for hairdos, not even for a decent pair of shoes. Her footwear had been repaired more than 100 times, but she did not care. All she cared about was Ogechi. She wanted to make sure that Ogechi was well taken care of. As fate would have it, Ogechi did not disappoint. The girl was brilliant, excelling beyond expectations. She was humble, disciplined, and strikingly beautiful, with a quiet grace that made people take notice. Every time Ego looked at her daughter, she knew every ache, every sleepless night, every drop of sweat was worth it. Again, the years rolled by like the tides, carrying Ogechi forward on the current of time. She had worked hard, studied even harder, and when the final results came in, she had passed her secondary school exams with excellence. It was no surprise to Ego, her daughter had always been brilliant. But that did not make her pride any less overwhelming. That same year, fortune smiled upon them. Ogechi was offered admission into the University of Lagos to study nursing and midwifery. It was a dream come true. The first step toward the bright future Ego had sacrificed so much for. But to her shock, Ogechi refused to go to school. "Mother, you have been working since I was able to understand things," Ogechi said one evening as they sat in their small, dimly lit room. "I just finished secondary school and yes, I want to go to the university, but let me stay for at least a year or two, work with you, and save some money. You can even rest a little. I heard university is very, very expensive. And you see, that course I'm about to do is way more expensive. Ego did not even let her finish before shutting the idea down completely. God forbid, she exclaimed, her voice firm. I did not suffer all these years for you to delay your future. No, my daughter, we will do this once and for all. University is just 5 years. 5 years and you will be done, and I can finally rest. That's all I ask. Let me carry this burden once and for all and let it go. Ogechi argued, pleaded, but there was no changing her mother's mind. If Ego had to work twice as hard, she would. If she had to go without sleep, she would. Nothing, absolutely nothing, mattered more than seeing Ogechi cross that finish line. And so, Ogechi accepted her admission. Ego prepared her well for this new journey. She made sure that her daughter lacked nothing. She bought her new clothes, new footwears, a sturdy school bag, and even a new phone. Nothing too fancy, just enough to keep her connected. She stocked up food items and packaged beverages, gave her as much as she could afford. The night before Ogechi left, Ego sat her down for a long, heartfelt conversation. The air between them was thick with emotions, a mixture of pride, excitement, and the weight of an impending separation. Ogechuku, my child, Ego said, taking her daughter's hands in hers. You are going into a new world, a place where you will meet people from different backgrounds, different ways of life. Guard your heart, my daughter, and whatever you do, always remember where you are coming from. Ogechi listened intently, her eyes shining with unshed tears. I promise, mother, I will do well and I will make you proud. Ego smiled then, stroking her daughter's face, the way she used to when she was just a little girl. And just like that, the journey began. The next morning, as Ogechi boarded the bus to the University of Lagos, Ego stood at the roadside, weeping, her heart swelling with both pride and longing. Her daughter was going to chase her dreams, and for Ego, that was all that mattered. The university was a world of its own, just as her mother had warned. Ogechi quickly learned that life there was different. Fast-paced, unpredictable, and full of distractions. She lived in the school hostel, sharing space with other girls from different backgrounds. Some were serious students, but others treated school like a mere playground, wasting time on frivolities. But Ogechi knew why she was there. She had not come to play, so she buried herself in her studies, avoiding unnecessary drama. By the end of her first year, her hard work paid off. Her results were outstanding. She was among the top 3 students in her class, a feat that earned her the admiration of lecturers and serious-minded classmates alike. But just as she was celebrating her success, life threw her into a new challenge. Everything changed in her second year. I mean, really changed. In the same hostel where she stayed, there were these 3 particular girls in the hostel. Vivian, Somi, and Chantel. They were popularly called the campus divas. They were the type of girls people couldn't help but admire. Stunningly beautiful, always dressed in the latest fashion, their hair always freshly styled, their nails polished to perfection. They weren't related by blood, but they moved like sister, always together, always in sync, even wearing matching outfits. Their lifestyle was enviable, yet everyone gossiped about them. The whole hostel, the whole school talked about them, and not just about their looks, but because of the expensive cars that came to pick them up almost every night. The men sometimes were much older, but always well dressed, always looking rich. Even the blind could see what was happening. Some girls talked in hushed tones, but others openly expressed their admiration. Ogechi, like many others, admired them from a distance. Their confidence, their elegance. It was a kind of beauty she had never known. But admiration was all it could ever be. They were in a different world, a different class. Or so she thought. As fate would have it, in her second year, the hostel rooms were reshuffled. Every student was reassigned to a new space, and Ogechi found herself placed in the same room as the campus divas. That was the beginning of her journey. From the moment she stepped into that room, she had no idea that that was going to be the real test, the test of her faith, her values, and everything her mother had taught her. Ogechi could hardly believe her luck. She was now roommates with the campus divas. She had always admired them, and now she had the chance to be close to them. But she would soon realize something. They were not in the same class at all. It was obvious in everything. Their side of the room was like a mini luxury suite, adorned with expensive rugs, stylish curtains, and high-end appliances. They had portable fridge, stocked with exotic drinks, makeup collections that could rival a beauty store, and more clothes, shoes, and wigs than Ogechi had ever seen or imagined in her life. Their presence alone made the entire room look like a fashion magazine spread. At first, Ogechi was happy, just being in their midst, but her excitement quickly faded when she realized they completely ignored her. They acted as if she did not exist. They never spoke to her, never even acknowledged her presence. And it hurt. She wanted to be noticed, to be part of their world, to be seen as one of them. Whenever they spoke, their conversations revolved around designer clothes, the latest shoe collections, high-end restaurants, and most importantly, their wealthy lovers. Ogechi couldn't wrap her head around how one person could be so lucky, could own so much. She wanted desperately to be so close to them, to be part of their world. But how? They would never pay attention to someone like her. Then one day, an idea struck her. If she wanted them to notice her, she had to step up. That evening after classes, the girls were in the room, gisting as usual. They were talking about a popular Nigerian musician, laughing excitedly about his latest scandal. Ogechi saw her chance. Are you talking about Don Jazzy? She laughed, cutting in for the first time ever. He's actually such a nice man if you meet him. The room fell silent. 3 pairs of perfectly sculpted eyebrows arched in shock as the girls turned to look at her. How dare you interfere in our conversation? Who asked for your opinion? Chantel sneered, looking her up and down as though she had just noticed her existence for the first time. Ogechi's smile faltered. I'm sorry, I did not mean to interfere. I just thought to mention that about him, since he is someone I know personally. The girls exchanged glances before bursting into laughter. You know Don Jazzy? Vivian asked, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Ogechi's expression remained serious. Of course I do. My father met him on one of his trips to the US when I was younger, and we've been family friends ever since. The laughter stopped immediately, their curiosity piqued. Wow, you really know him? I've always wanted to meet him, Chantel exclaimed excitedly. Ogechi smiled confidently. I'll talk to my father about it. Perhaps when he's in the country, anytime he is, I'll make him arrange something. Maybe we can meet up with Don Jazzy. How about that? The girl's eyes widened. So your father is based in the US? Wow. Sumi asked, suddenly interested. But Vivian frowned. Then, how come you dress and look like this? You don't look, Ogechi sighed dramatically as if her life was the most unfortunate story ever. Welcome to my world though. My parents are actually both based in the US, always traveling from one country to another. I'm their only child, so they became overprotective. They don't let me dress the way I want, or make friends, or even hold much money. They are so afraid I'll go bad. See, I'm really tired. I'm tired of it all. I want to dress like other girls. Wear fancy stuff, go out, see the world. But I don't know what to do anymore. The girls exchanged glances. Now wow, your parents are really mean, Sumi said, her face masked with pity. Vivian flipped her long wave over her shoulder. See, don't worry. We will help you live the kind of life that you want. Ogechi felt her heart leap. She had done it. They were finally seeing her. The truth, she had no idea what she was asking for. She just wanted to impress them, to be seen as a big girl, to no longer feel like the odd one out. And so she fed them lies upon lies, and they bought every single one. From that day, they started treating her differently. They included her in their conversations, whispered juicy secrets to her, and even began inviting her to their outings. Encouraged by their acceptance, Ogechi continued to weave her lies, even when it wasn't necessary. One weekend, she received her first real invite. "Oge, come with us," Vivian said, tossing her bundle of clothes on the bed. "My man is hosting a party and you must come with us." Ogechi's heart soared. She was in. But there was one problem. She had nothing to wear. The girls exchanged knowing smiles. "That is not a problem," Sumi said. They searched through their endless collections and found a stunning dress that fit her perfectly, a pair of elegant shoes that hugged her feet just right, and a long silky wig that made her look like a completely different person. They applied flawless makeup, giving her face a radiant glow. When Ogechi looked at herself in the mirror, she gasped. She had never known she could look this beautiful. "Wow," she whispered, touching her face in awe. The girls grinned knowingly. "Before we go, there's one more thing," Vivian said. She turned to Ogechi and asked, "When someone asks for your name, what do you say?" Ogechi frowned slightly. "Ogechi, of course." The girls burst into laughter. "That's too local," Vivian said. "You don't want them to see you as one local girl like that. Don't you have an English name?" Ogechi nodded. "Mary." "Ah," Vivian exclaimed in horror. "That's so holy and righteous now. Are you going to church?" "See, your name is Samantha now. If anyone asks, just say Samantha." Ogechi smiled, nodding. The transformation was complete. Moments later, a sleek black car pulled outside. As they stepped out of the hostel, head turned. Girls gasped in shock. The quiet, reserved Ogechi was now walking with the divas, dressed like that, looking like that. The mamas followed her. Some that knew her hailed her, others gossiped, but Ogechi did not care. For the first time, she felt important. She felt seen. With her shoulders high and her heart pounding in excitement, she stepped into the glitzy world of Lagos nightlife, completely unaware of the dangerous road she was about to walk. "Ogechi, Abi, No, Samantha had never seen anything like that party before. The moment they stepped in, she was overwhelmed by the sheer opulence of the place. Everything screamed money. The flashing lights, the loud pulsating music, the expensive designer outfits, the air thick with exotic perfumes and cigar smoke. It was a world completely different from anything she had ever known. The hall was packed with people who looked like they belonged on magazine covers. Women in shimmering gowns and sky-high heels, men in crisp designer suits and flashy watches, and even then, they were the older men, pot-bellied, rich and exuding an air of authority, their eyes hungrily scanning the crowd for young, beautiful girls to entertain them for the night. Samantha's roommates wasted no time getting entangled with their lovers. Within minutes, each of them was swept away into the arms of the men who had been waiting for them. That was when Vivian leaned close to Samantha and whispered, "Some of the men are asking for you." Samantha's heart skipped a beat. "Me?" she asked, eyes wide. Vivian chuckled. "Of course. Look at you. You're stunning. That dress, your hair, your skin. Men love fresh girls like you." Samantha's face lit up. She could not believe it. She had only just begun hanging out with them, and already men were interested in her. She felt important, even powerful. Vivian pointed to a man standing across the room. He was tall, well-dressed, and clearly wealthy. "You see that man? He has enough money. If you agree to spend the night with him, you will have so much money that you won't even need your parents' money anymore." Samantha's breath hitched. "Is that how you girls have so much money?" she asked, almost in a whisper. Vivian nodded, still smiling. Samantha thought for a while. "So, I'll just talk to him tonight and he will give me money, just like that." Vivian burst into laughter. "You really don't know? Haven't you been with a man before? You talk to him and he give you money, Kay." Samantha hesitated, then slowly she shook her head. Vivian raised an eyebrow. "Big girl like you." She leaned in closer. "Don't worry, it's not hard. Just relax. Do whatever he says. It will be over before you know it. And I will make sure I collect your money so that he doesn't cheat you." Samantha felt a strange mixture of fear and excitement. She wasn't sure how she felt about the whole thing, but one thing was clear. She wanted to belong, and she would do anything to impress them. That night, she agreed to go with the man. That night, she knew a man for the first time. That night, she felt like a woman. That night, she tasted freedom, and it tasted so sweet. By the time they returned to the hostel, the entire building was silent. It was well past midnight, and the only way they could get in was by bribing the wardens at the gate. Vivian handed over some money, and just like that, they were let in without question. Once inside their room, Vivian reached into her purse and handed Samantha a bundle of cash. "This is your money for tonight." Ogechi's hands trembled as she counted it. 20,000 naira. Her heart pounded. She had never held that much money in her hands before. Money that belonged to her alone. No one had ever given her this much, not even her mother. She felt that she had arrived. What she did not know was that Vivian had charged the man 60,000 naira, kept 40,000 for herself, and given her only a fraction of it. While Ogechi had been with the man, the three divas had made a quick plan. They knew she was naive, they knew she had no experience, and they knew exactly how to use her. Their plan was simple: make as much money off her as possible before she caught on. And so far, their plan was working perfectly. From that day, Ogechi or Samantha, whichever one you prefer, became an official part of the campus divas. They taught her everything she needed to know: how to behave, how to please a man, how to ensure protection against infections and pregnancy. And Ogechi, being intelligent, learned fast. Within a few weeks, she had transformed completely. She became a pro. She was no longer the naive Ogechi. She was now Samantha, the high-class big girl. Money flowed into her hands like never before. She bought clothes, wigs, designer shoes. Her hairstyle changed. Her makeup became more refined, and even her attitude shifted. But the worst part, her academics suffered. She stopped attending lectures. Nights were for partying, and mornings were for sleeping off the exhaustion of the previous night. Her books were abandoned, her dreams forgotten. Her old friends noticed the change and tried to talk to her. "Ogechi, this is not you. What's happening?" one of her classmates asked. "Mind your business," she snapped. Even the older girls in her hostel warned her, "Be careful, Ogechi. This life you're living, it's dangerous." But she did not listen to anyone. As far as she was concerned, they were all jealous of her, jealous of the fact that she was moving with the campus divas. She was having fun. She was making money. She was enjoying freedom. She had no idea that freedom always came at a price. She had completely forgotten why she was in school in the first place. She had forgotten her mother. She even stopped picking her calls. Then one day, something happened. For the first time in weeks, Samantha decided to attend lectures. She wasn't even sure why. Maybe a part of her missed being a student. But when she returned to her room that afternoon, she stopped dead in her tracks. Standing in front of her door was the last person she expected to see: her mother. Ogechi froze at the sight of her mother. For a split second, she felt like a child again, caught doing something wrong. But the feeling passed just as quickly as it came. Her first thought wasn't of guilt or joy. It was irritation. "What is she doing here?" she asked herself as she opened her door. Thankfully, her roommates were not around. Ego, her mother, quickly stood up and opened her arms wide. "Ogechi, my daughter. Oh, thank God you are fine," she exclaimed, moving forward. She stopped when she noticed the expression on her daughter's face. What is wrong? Are you not happy to see me?" Ogechi frowned deeper. "Why are you here, Mommy? Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" Ego's smile faltered. She looked at her daughter confused. "Why are you sounding like this, Ogechi? I have been calling you for weeks now. It's either you don't pick up or you say you are too busy to talk. I was worried about you, and I have been having very disturbing dreams. What is going on with you?" Ogechi could not hold her mother's gaze. "Mommy, I'm fine," she mumbled. "You can see that. Please, you need to start going now." Ego gasped. "Here. I just came in and you want me to start going. Why?" Ogechi rolled her eyes impatiently. "Mommy, you should leave now. My roommates will be back soon and I don't want them to see you." Ego's heart skipped a beat. "You don't want your roommates to see me? Why? How?" Ogechi's temper fled. For the first time in her life, she raised her voice at her mother. "Mommy, can't you see how you look? You look old and you can't even dress well. Wear something nice. Look at your slippers, so old, so embarrassing. I'm sure you even told the people that showed you my room that you are my mother. Now how do you want them to see me?" Ego was so hurt to be angry. "Ogechi, I look like this because I spent every single penny I have ever worked for in my life to give you a comfortable life. Now you stand here and tell me that Ego, embarrasses you." Ogechi scoffed. "How much money are you even giving me, sef, that you are talking like this? Is it not other parents that send their children here without complaining? Do they have two heads? Ego shook her head and took a slow look around the room. The expensive decoration, the appliances, the fancy curtains. She did not need to be told that Ogechi had found new friends. Ogechukwu, you have mixed with the rich and forgotten where you are coming from. I warned you, Ogechukwu, she said quietly. You have changed. I see it in your eyes. I see it the way you look. This is not the child I sent to school. But whatever is happening is not too late. She bent down, picked up the large nylon bag she had come with and placed it on the floor. I bought some things for you, she said simply. Then she turned to leave. At that moment, the door burst open and Ogechi's roommates walked in, laughing and chatting. Panic gripped Ogechi's heart. Mommy, please go now, she whispered urgently, pushing her mother towards the door before the girls could take too much notice. Ego left without another word, her heart heavy. As she walked away, her mind raced with different thoughts. Should she withdraw Ogechi from school? Take her home before things got worse? But she couldn't bring herself to do it. Ogechi was her only child. If she pulled her out of school and Ogechi failed in life or did not turn out well, people would blame her. After all, she thought, have I not done everything humanly possible for my daughter? She sighed. She would keep praying. A mother does not give up on her child. Meanwhile, back in the room, the girls stared at Ogechi in surprise. Who was that woman that just left? Somi asked. Ogechi smiled and waved her hand dismissively. Ah, that one. She's my housekeeper. You know my parents are based abroad now, so she basically raised me. My mom sent her to some money to buy me foodstuffs, so she came to, deliver it. Vivian raised an eyebrow. Oh, but why is she dressed like that? Is she okay? Vici scoffed. Thank God you see what I'm talking about. I just scolded her because of that, and she thinks I'm being rude. She flipped her hair as though shaking out the entire incident. Please, enough about that woman. Let's focus on more important things. What's the plan for tonight? And just like that, Ego was forgotten. But Ego could not forget. No matter how hard she tried, she could not erase the hurtful words that had come out of her daughter's mouth. They echoed in her head like a bad dream she could not wake up from. Was this truly Ogechi, her sweet, calm, respectful daughter? The child she had raised with so much love and sacrifice. Ego was still in shock. She could not shake off the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Ogechi looked different. Her clothes were too flashy, not too expensive for what Ego could afford. Her demeanor had changed too. Her eyes held a look Ego had never seen before. What is happening to my daughter? Fear settled deep in her chest, twisting her stomach in knots. But what could she do? She had sacrificed everything for Ogechi. She had refused to remarry, dedicating her life solely to raising her daughter. She had put all her hopes, all her dreams into this one child, and now it seemed like it had all been in vain. To make matters worse, Ego's health was failing. She no longer felt as strong as she used to. She had been feeling weak for months, but she ignored it, believing it was just exhaustion. Now it was becoming undeniable. She was getting sicker. Still, she prayed. She prayed that she was wrong about Ogechi. She prayed that this was just a phase. She prayed that somehow her daughter would come back to her. But Ogechi had already moved far, far away. Back in the University of Lagos, Ogechi was lost in her newfound world of freedom. She had become worse than the campus divas who had initiated her into the lifestyle. If they went out 3 times a week, Ogechi went out every night. Not a single night passed that she was not with a man. Her mother kept calling. She was getting sicker, but Ogechi never picked up and she never returned the calls. The first semester soon came to an end. As expected, Ogechi failed woefully. She carried over all her courses. None of her classmates were surprised. And Ogechi was not even bothered. I beg you, it's just one semester. I still have time to make up for it, she told herself. Instead of being remorseful, she partied even harder until the day trouble came calling. Big, big trouble. There is a popular Igbo adage that says, Oke solungwere ma mmiri, ọ ga-akọ oke ma ya akọna ngwere. It means that if the rat follows the lizard into the water, when the water dries on the lizard's body, it may not dry on the rat's body. And that was exactly what happened to Ogechi. That night had started like any other night. The divas had gone out as usual, each pairing off with their separate catch for the night. Ogechi was with Chief Aruwole, a wealthy politician who had been one of her regulars for a while. He was a generous spender, and Ogechi always looked forward to nights with him. The evening had gone well. Plenty of expensive wine, laughter, and passionate moments. Chief was fine when they went to bed, but by morning he was cold. Ogechi stared lazily, stretching her body as she reached for her phone, but something felt off. Chief was still asleep. He was usually the first person awake. Chief, she called, shaking him gently. There was no response. She shook him harder. Chief, wake up. Nothing. A cold chill crept down her spine. Her hands trembled as she reached for his wrist, pressing her fingers where his pulse should be. There was no pulse. Her breath caught in her throat. A sharp, paralyzing fear gripped her. Jesus Christ! He's dead! Her whole body began to shake. She jumped off the bed, pacing frantically. What will I do now? 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 She muttered repeatedly, her head spinning. Just then her phone rang. It was Vivian. They were ready to return to the hostel, but Ogechi's voice came out in a broken whisper. He's dead, Vivian. He's dead. There was a click. Vivian had hung up. Minutes later, the girls burst into the hotel room. Their eyes widened in horror when they saw Chief's lifeless body. How did this happen? Chantel gasped. I don't know, Ogechi wailed. He was fine last night. He was fine. We slept together. Then I just woke up and he was like this. She broke into fresh sobs. Vivian snapped into action. We have to leave now. If the hotel staff comes in and finds us here, we are finished. Yes, Oge, you have to clean up and get dressed and act normal. We need to get out of here before anyone notices, Somi added urgently. With shaking hands, Ogechi wiped her face, pulled on her clothes and followed them out of the room. They walked out casually, their hearts pounding, but no one stopped them. Within an hour, they were back in their hostel room, sitting in silence. Then Ogechi spoke. What are we going to do now? Chantel scoffed. We? What do you mean we? This is your mess, Ogechi. I don't want my name involved, please. Ogechi's eyes widened. Chantel, what are you saying? Chantel crossed her arms. Exactly what you heard. Chantel is right, Somi put in. This one is on you. I cannot go to prison for something I don't know about. Your father has connections and is abroad. He can sort out this mess. But me, my parents have nothing. They don't have any money or connections. So please, I'm out of this. I beg, no vex. Vivian looked at her with pity. They have a point, Oge. You have connections, so you have nothing to fear. If the police by any chance finds you, you can beg your parents. I'm sure they will come through for you. You are their only child. Me, I have no parents. They are both dead. I'm doing all this to see myself through school. Ogechi's jaw dropped as she heard their confessions. She burst into fresh, uncontrollable tears. Please, you girls should not turn on me like this now, eh? I have no one to help me, please, I beg of you. Chantel looked at her surprised. What do you mean you don't have anyone? You that is more privileged than us. Do you want to drag us down with you? Hey, Ogechi, you are finished. Ogechi cried. See, I lied. I lied. My father died since I was 5 years old. It's just me and my mother. The room was silent. And then Somi spoke. Wait, you mean your parents are not based abroad? Ogechi nodded. Does it mean that that woman that came here the other day was your mother? Ogechi nodded again. Hey! The girls shouted in unison. Ha! Ogechi, you can't lie. Vivian exclaimed. You stood here and denied your own mother and spoke about her in the manner you did. Ha! You are such a useless and wicked child. Every day, I wish my mother was still alive. And here you are. You insulted and disrespected your own mother. Ogechi could not say anything. She just sat there, crying. One by one, the girls removed themselves from the problem. She was to bear whatever the outcome was on her own. Back at the hotel, Chief Arowole's body was discovered and an investigation started immediately. It did not take long to trace the girl he had spent the night with. Ogechi and the divas were regulars there. By that evening, with permission from the university management, the police came for her. Ogechi was arrested. In handcuffs, she was marched out of the hostel, surrounded by police officers. The hostel was in chaos. Girls screamed in shock. Some whispered behind their hands. Others laughed. Phones were raised. Everyone was recording. Ogechi could not lift her head. Shame covered her like a thick blanket. Regrets filled her chest, suffocating her. That was when she thought about her mother. She remembered all that her mother had warned her about when she entered the university, young, intelligent, and full of dreams. As the police van moved, she looked at the school one last time and realized that all her dreams were gone. She cried so hard. She had ruined her own life with her own hands. At the police station, Ogechi sat in the cold, dimly lit interrogation room, her face streaked with tears. Her hands trembled as she clutched the edges of the metal table, her whole body racked with sobs. Please, I swear, I didn't do anything. Chief was fine when we went to bed. I don't know what happened. She pleaded, her voice cracking. The police officers stared at her, their faces unreadable. One of them leaned forward. Young lady, we need the truth. Did you poison him? What did you give to him? No, I didn't give him anything. We drank together last night, but that was it. Please believe me, she cried, her heart pounding. The interrogation continued for hours. Ogechi told them everything, how she met Chief, how he had been fined the night before, and how she woke up to find him lifeless. While she was detained, a team of officers were sent to locate her family. They found her mother. The news hit Ego like a thunderbolt. Her only child, arrested for murder in a hotel room. Her heart clenched painfully, her vision blurred. and before she could even process what was happening, her legs buckled beneath her. She collapsed. The people around her screamed, everybody rushing down to help Mama Ogechi. She was taken to the hospitals. The doctors worked tirelessly, but her blood pressure had spiked too high, triggering a stroke. Ego never recovered. She died the next day. It took about 2 more days before the results from the autopsy was released. It was discovered that Chief had died of a heart attack and Ogechi was released. Relief washed through her. She wasn't a murderer after all, and now she could finally see her mother and tell her how sorry she was. But when she arrived at the hospital, the news she received shattered her completely. Her mother was gone. She had died 2 days ago, and her body had already been taken to the mortuary. Ogechi felt the floor slip from beneath her. No, 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 she screamed, falling to her knees, her cries echoing through the hospital hallway. Her mind replayed every memory of her mother, the sacrifices, the love, the prayers, and the pain she had given her in return. She had wasted all her mother's efforts, and now her mother was gone forever. There was no second chance. Ogechi had never felt so alone. Returning to school was out of the question. Even if she wanted to, the shame would crush her, and there was no one to help her. But the decision was already made on her behalf. The university had expelled her publicly. Her story was all over the news. Ogechi was only 19 years old. Now she had no parents, no family, and no future. Moral lessons. Dear parents, I know we are working so hard to give our children the best. But while we are at it, please also think about yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your mind. You are also very, very important. To the younger ones, always know that all that glitters are not gold. Don't ever wish to be like another person. Your story and your life may even be better than theirs. And whatever you do, always remember where you are coming from. This is not just a story, it is someone's reality. Be guided. Hey lovers, thank you for listening to this story. If you are new here, welcome to our community. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story as much as I enjoyed creating it. If you have not done so already, please hit the subscribe button. And to support the growth of our community, give this video a big thumbs up. If you know someone who would enjoy a story like this, do not hesitate to share. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Remember, like, share, drop a comment and subscribe. I'll take my leave now, but I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.